As requested by Movie Club member Bronson over on my Patreon, here is my review of Beetlejuice.
Welcome to Pizowell Home Video.
We all know who to call when you're dealing with a dose of a freaky ghost, right?
Ghostbusters.
But what if you're a ghost dealing with the living? In which case, you need a freaky ghost. A ghost with the most, you might say. What's his name?
Beetlejuice.
What's that name?
Beetlejuice.
We get it, Bubba. Thanks.
Peace.
Beetlejuice is one of the great movies of the 1980s, a supernatural comedy about life, death, and the afterlife, directed by a filmmaker who had his own very unique vision of all three. As a kid, I found Beetlejuice's shenanigans irresistibly entertaining, and I was drawn into the world, or worlds, that the movie takes place in. Watching Beetlejuice as an adult is a completely different experience. To be honest, I'm shocked this movie got a PG rating. In the picturesque small town of Winter River lived a charming young couple, Barbara and Adam Maitland. I say lived because their days of living are a thing of the past, and the transition from life to afterlife hasn't been an easy one. You see, there's all these rules. The first rule being, they can't leave their house. If they do, they're instantly transported to Saturn, a barren wasteland where you're hunted by hungry and very ugly sandworms. And if you think death frees you from the red tape of living, you're wrong, because there's just as much red tape in the beyond. Waiting rooms, rude public servants, and a handbook that reads like stereo instructions. Are stereos even still a thing? Anyway, the Maitland's home is soon sold to a wealthy family from New York City.
New York City!
The Dietzes. They're hip, they're trendy, they're pretentious, they're unbearable. Well, Lydia is okay, I guess, although she's a little dramatic.
I am utterly alone.
After failing to scare the Dietzes away with their own lackluster attempts at haunting, they turn to Afterlife's premier bioexorcist, Beetlejuice. But he has ulterior motives. Wait, why am I going over the plot for Beetlejuice? It's Beetlejuice, for God's sake. That's why I had a difficult time approaching this review. I mean, it's Beetlejuice. Who hasn't seen Beetlejuice? And I'm guessing the vast majority of people who have seen Beetlejuice love it. What's not to love? So I'd prefer this to be less of a traditional review of the movie and more of a celebration of it, a discussion of why it's so special and my concerns over whether or not a sequel can recapture that same magic. Anyway, Beetlejuice doesn't paint a very rosy picture of the afterlife. Maybe that's the point. Life's hard. What if the afterlife isn't all that much different? Right off the bat, you feel for the Maitlands. They're such a cute couple and seem like nice folks. It's even hinted at that the two can't have children. The love and attention they would have put into a child they've seemingly put into their home. They die untimely and honestly pretty sad deaths. And now here comes these big city jerks who want to tear the place apart and turn it into some artsy-fartsy nightmare. Enter Beetlejuice, a bioexorcist who can remove the Dietzes for a price. And then what time is it, Jeremy?
It's showtime.
From a technical standpoint, Beetlejuice is awesome. The sets, the costumes, and the makeups are all immaculate. The score from Danny Elfman is iconic. The stop-motion animations have so much more character than modern CGI. And the cinematography is both dark, yet vibrantly colored. Visually, it was unlike anything audiences had ever seen. Keep in mind, this was pre-Batman and Edward Scissorhands' Tim Burton. His unique visual stylings and off-kilter tone were new, fresh, and most importantly, different. Burton personified the outsider. He had his own vibe. When everything was glitzy and colorful, Burton was dark, but not depressingly dark. He was goth, but good-natured. He was nerdy, but kinda cool at the same time. The cast is also spectacular. Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis are extremely likable as the Maitlands. Jeffrey Jones, Catherine O'Hara, and Winona Ryder are likable as the mostly unlikable Dietzes. And though Ryder gets most of the love as Lydia, and deservedly so, Lydia was every goth kid's spirit animal Catherine O'Hara's performance as the Dietz airheaded matriarch cracks me up even more so as an adult. She's so good at being so unbearable. Also, Glenn Shadix's performance as Otho is underrated. He doesn't get the flowers that he deserves. I actually heard that when Mr. Shadix passed away in 2010, they actually played the Banana Boat song at his funeral. But, all that aside, regardless of how great everything else is in this movie, Beetlejuice rides or dies on the strength of Michael Keaton's performance as Beetlejuice. And he does not disappoint. Keaton brought a swagger to the performance. He exhibits such range and a physicality that makes the performance truly special. He doesn't go over the top the way a comedian or a comic actor likely would have. Keaton captures the sleaziness and the used car salesmanness of the character perfectly, and it's his performance that makes Beetlejuice the movie that it is. Back in the day as a kid, I can recall my mother saying that she felt Keaton went too far with his performance. I beg to differ. I think he went just far enough. But most people forget, or at least I did, just how risque Beetlejuice is. Again, I'm shocked this movie got a PG rating. The movie covers some pretty serious topics. Granted, it does so in a darkly comedic nature. And Beetlejuice, the character, is quite a dirty dog. And if that marriage had gone through at the end, he'd been a felon. It all comes together to make a magic movie that feels very much of its time. I don't mean that to say that it feels dated in terms of style and so forth, but in terms of sensibilities. I'm concerned for Beetlejuice because I don't know if they can recapture that same magic, or a magic that's close. And can Beetlejuice go that dark, or be as risque as the original? Will they be allowed to? A watered-down PC Beetlejuice isn't Beetlejuice in my opinion. I guess we'll see when the movie opens this weekend. Jeremy and I will be there. Will you?
Yes.
Let me know your thoughts on Beetlejuice down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, let me know how high your hopes are for Beetlejuice. Huge shout out to Movie Club member Bronson over on my Patreon for requesting that I review Beetlejuice. Thank you for your review request, and thank you so much for being a patron. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.